steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
Oh! He broke his ankles. Now he's got an entourage. And he's got a touchdown. He is Houdini. Going deep into the end zone and caught by Chase. Oh my goodness, what a grab! 34-yard touchdown throw!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Week 6 recap on Dynasty Nation. I'm Jim along with Kev. And Kev, I'm going to keep bringing it up as long as it's happening. New York football, baby. Let's go.
Bro, I got to tell you, 5-1 sounds a lot better than 4-1. Oh, my God. I just want to also say, I called it. We might just fuck around and win, and God damn it, Giants win the game. So, oh, Jim, it's a great day. Happy Tuesday to you.
Sir.
Great weekend of football, man. Excited to be back at it.
Yeah, man. Jets got a dub in Green Bay. Pretty psyched about that.
Crazy.
Even if Zach
Lambeau.
Wilson only threw for 110 yards, Brees is that guy. Sauce
win's a win,
is that
man.
guy. So let's
man.
go, man. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Looking good.
All right, Kev, so let's get into our Week 6 news segment here. So what do we got for us?
All right, Jim. So we got like two, I would say, pretty significant injuries to report this week. So this week, Hollywood Brown. So my man suffered a fracture in his foot, but he shouldn't need surgery, which is great. So we're looking at around a 6-week recovery timeline. So that's, good for the Cardinals because, he's been having an amazing year this year. So, 6 weeks, yeah, it's a little lengthy, but I mean, hopefully he'll be good to go in that time and right back where he left off. The Cardinals, I mean, they're not looking so good this year. So, maybe he'll, pick up and continue to be that huge threat for Kyler again.
I mean, their record's 2-4. I think they're only one game back in that division. They still
That's
have a
true.
chance. That division's just been not great to start the season. So they're still in it.
They are still in it. That is true. But yeah, higher expectations. But I agree. But another big injury to report, Carson Wentz. Or Carson Wentz, we like to call him. So he will be out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's got a fractured finger. So bring on Taylor Heineke once again. So we'll see how that goes.
They fractured the ring finger on his throwing hand. I'm pretty sure I saw he had surgery like literally the next day. So
I think so. Yeah,
they're quick about moving on with this and getting it going to get him back this year. But tough when it's on the throwing hand for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then I was going to mention this with this, but we have because we went to the Cardinals with Hollywood. So Robbie Anderson. So he gets traded to Arizona after arguing with Steve Wilkes on the sideline. He was just like, all right, you know what, buddy? Pack your bags. Go to the locker room. I've had enough. Personally, Jim, I don't know who Robbie Anderson thinks he is to be acting like that, but I get it. Frustrations boil over. But at the end of the day, you're Robbie Anderson, bro. Like, let's take it easy. But yeah, he got traded immediately after that little spat on the sideline. And I mean, he's filling in for a team like we said, just lost a big receiver for them. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out with him in Arizona, I guess.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson, it's completely interesting. I mean, all offseason he was putting out these like messages that sounded like, oh, he's gonna retire, almost like begging Carolina to take him back. And then he's like, I just don't think he wanted to be in Carolina at all. And then now he's finally out. See if he'll produce. Even though Hopkins is coming back though for Arizona, but he'll take over the role there of
sure.
Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I guess just keeping it, when it rains, it pours. Another newsworthy event for Carolina. Christian McCaffrey heavily involved on the trade block market in the NFL. So I saw the Rams are interested. I know that was like the main one, but what was the other big?
There was four. There was four I heard that were like really making pushes, which were the Rams, the Bills, the Broncos, and oh man, I forget the other one. Oh man,
was it the Niners?
No, it wasn't the 40. Oh no, it was the 49ers. You're right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
49ers. Yeah.
If he goes to the Broncos, I'll cry. So I'll literally be devastated. But I mean, whoever gets McCaffrey, I did a little reading into it because the Panthers they already like paid or extended him. And so like the first year, wherever he ends up, that team would only owe him like $1 million or something ridiculous.
Wow.
So that ups his trade value. So the Panthers could easily demand like a first round pick minimum because you're getting, arguably the best running back in football production for $1 million for that season.
Yeah, supposedly they want picks, which makes it interesting. How are the Rams really going to get involved with? They don't really have picks, but other news for them though, they're also shopping Cam Akers, so maybe you got a little trade developing in that sense.
It's definitely something to keep our eyes on, Jim. We'll see what happens there in the LA and Charlotte.
But speaking of trades, we got a little interesting tidbit here. Tyreek Hill in our league from Taylor Swift's McLaurin on the block. Offers were demanded by Monday night at 6:00.
They were. So I wanted everything in. I did.
So the offers are in, Kev. Are we going to see a trade? What's going on? What's the latest on Tyreek Hill here?
All right. So, obviously for all of you guys watching right now, you guys would have already seen this happen. But for Mr. Jim, you're about to have a live reaction to a trade that's about to happen right now.
All right. Let me pull it up here.
So Tyreek Hill is on the move. And right now.
Oh, God, let's see it. Oh, boy, here we go. So let's break it for you guys. I'm all in. Alexi gets Tyreek Hill and a third in 2023. In return, Taylor Swift's McLaurin gets Jamal Williams, Chris Olave, Isaiah Pacheco, a 24 first and a 25 second. I mean, he definitely hit the definition of I'm all in. Let me tell you.
That's what it was, man. He definitely that's his name for a couple of reasons, man. And the value just got to the point where it's just not my year. Obviously Swift coming back, and I expect Taylor to still be good, but I think Chris Olave he's a stud, 22 years old. I didn't have a first round pick in 24, so I'm back in the first round. And Alexi, he's got a great team. And I think Tyreek Hill, honestly, Jim, I think it leapfrogs him over you, in my honest opinion.
Okay.
And I think it's just, he's just a game breaking talent. And good for Alexi. Also, shout out to Andrew. He also was coming out with some good offers. But as of last night, he kind of pulled back and said he didn't want to push too hard anymore. So it kind of made Alexi the guy. And obviously, as you can see, we just got it done. So.
All right. So, let's see here. As far as like the short term, obviously, most interesting, if you guys followed us from Verbal, we got Tyreek Hill returning to I'm All In.
Yeah.
On I'm All In, got traded to you in a Mike Williams deal.
Yep.
Now goes back to Alexi.
Yep.
But long term, I mean, Chris Olave looks solid. Pacheco looks like he might be taking over in Kansas City, possibly. And then obviously you get the handcuff for now to DeAndre Swift.
Right.
Plus the first and the second.
Exactly. And I mean, the thing with that too, Jim, was like Jamal Williams, obviously in the little stint with Swift being out, he's looked really, really good. Jamal Williams is still under contract with the Lions next year. So I'll definitely still have the handcuff next season. I don't see any reason why the Lions would want to move him. If he's still under contract, he'll be there. So next year, if I'm able to turn things around, depending on what happens with Grogan's team, maybe I can get a high impact player with that pick. And, I'm right back in it. Obviously, a guy like Tyreek Hill doesn't just, float from the sky. But I do really think Chris Olave he's already the best receiver on that team. Michael Thomas is old. He's had a great career. Alvin Kamara, he's also up there in age. And my thing with that trade, Jim, was, a lot of people's concerns with Olave was like, how is he going to demand enough of a target share with those very well-known target hogs? Like they always command large target shares between Thomas and Kamara, and Olave is already getting over like 20%. You know what I mean? As a rookie, and there've been some injuries, but as a whole, he looks really good. And I did try to get more, honestly, more value, and I was trying hard for Pittman for a bit. I'm not gonna lie, but Alexi kind of. He kind of put his foot down. I tried really, really hard, and that's kind of what stalled it out for about over a week and a half. But in the end, I'm glad I was able to get it done in the end. I think Alexei definitely has a great chance to win it. I'm still obviously we just did it, so I mean I have to like digest it myself. In the end, though, I think for my team, it was the right move.
Yeah, you get Olave, like you said, he's getting the share, but no Michael Thomas for now. Even Jarvis Landry hasn't been playing. So I do think long term though, it's a great pick. I mean, Michael Thomas looks like he can't stay on the field ever. So
yeah, right.
And same with Jarvis. So
yeah,
you're looking pretty fine there as far as receiver.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do like Pacheco as a sneaky kind of add in there.
Yeah, adding Pacheco, Alexei's like, I gotta have that third rounder. I'm like, fine. So, but
it's kind of worth it though.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, third rounder. I mean, it's in a draft I really like, but I think really what it was too. It's his third rounder. So, but yeah, man. Wow, yeah. So it's done. It's been brewing for a long time. I wasn't capping. Like it was very much intense talks have been ongoing with a couple owners, but it was mostly Alexei and Andrew in the end. But yeah, in the end, it just seemed as per usual, Alexei was the most willing to meet my demand. So
so that's 2 years in a row now. Even the offseason, Alexei seems to always be sniffing around these big trades. So
yeah,
definitely a team to look out for coming down the stretch here as we're almost halfway through our season.
Yeah, literally. It's crazy, man. And Tyreek Hill is obviously going to be a massive upgrade to us coming back. So I do expect Jalen Waddle to kind of be a bit, more revitalized in that offense. But at the end of the day, Tyreek Hill is still going to be Tyreek Hill, and he's going to put up monster numbers every other week, at least.
Man.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that, let's go ahead and recap week 6. First, let's start off with the one we all got wrong here, man. Evil Empire upsetting Chubby Stafford 154.68 to 124.02, and he was led by Jamar Chase, 32.2 points, 7 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really the big game we've been waiting for him all season.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time, right? I mean, Jamar Chase, he's just one of the best receivers in the NFL. And it's just like TJ just couldn't buy a win this whole year. And finally, Jim, we've been saying it, he has the pieces. They just come together for him. And finally they do a massive win. And, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, have yourself a day, young man. I mean, like we just mentioned, Jamar Chase, Gabe Davis finds the end zone again. Dude, TJ's team, maybe he'll have the return of Hopkins, so maybe he rises from the ashes here a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, Ramondre, his second game with Evil Empire, puts up 25.1 points, 76 yards on the ground, and 2 touchdowns. Also added 15 yards on 4 catches in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I'm just reading the chat as it's coming in. Yeah. This is not again, panic sell. That's funny. Anyway, sorry.
We also get Juju finally has a pretty good game in Kansas City here. 22.3 points, 5 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown for Evil Empire.
He's been getting the targets, man. It's about time he finally capitalized on it. So yeah, and to find the end zone too. So if we can get more of this out of Juju, dude, it's TJ's team's good, man. It's just gotta finally even Tunyon. Look at Robert Tunyon against the Jets, 12 targets. Oh my. So 10 receptions, 90 yards. It's just, oh my gosh. Obviously you can't expect that every week, but dude.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Rodgers did lose his security blanket in Randall Cobb, so
yeah.
Robert Tunyon might be the new security blanket there.
I would say, yeah.
But going over to the Chubby Stafford side, we had Austin Eckler still have a big week, 24.3 points, 36 yards and a touchdown on the ground. 10 catches on 16 targets for 47 yards to add on to that.
It all just came together, man. It's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, man. How much more I could say than that? It's just beautiful.
George Kittle, 16.3 points for him, 8 catches, 83 yards, and a losing effort against the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I know Kittle's involvement has been pretty lackluster, to say the least, but to see him getting that involvement now, it's definitely a very encouraging sign. I know in our other league, Jim, I was trying to snag him in a trade, but it's good. Yeah, I was, but it's good to see things starting to turn around for him because he's like name-wise one of the better tight ends in the league. So,
yeah, the biggest part of Chubby Stafford's downfall this week was that name himself, Nick Chubb and Matt Stafford, both disappointing weeks.
I gotta say, man, New England, they will always just maintain a solid, sound run defense and just defense as a whole, even if the names aren't there anymore. Yeah, Nick Chubb, who's been dominant all year, just mid, like 8 points, not what anyone expected, even against the Patriots. Yeah, tough sledding for him.
All right, let's get to our next matchup. Let's go with the high for the week that just was over Evil Empire's total. We have I'm All In putting up 154.72 points, beating Bateman and Robin only puts up 93.7 this week.
Yeah, and I'm just, as you're reading that, like, yeah, first of all, Jason completely getting dominated, but it's just like, with all the pieces that Alexi does have, I mean, getting 3 points from Mike Williams, it's just like throwing in Tyreek Hill to this mix, man. It's going to be scary, man. But let's see. Leonard Fournette, another great game. 21 carries, 63 yards. Again, the receiving work, beautiful to see. 6 receptions, 38 yards, a touchdown. You got Dalvin Cook getting involved, finding the end zone himself with 15 points. But just want to shout out Michael Pittman, man. And honestly, I was really hoping he was going to have a dud week to really kind of reel him towards my way. But as I mentioned in a previous episode, going into Dynasty, Michael Pittman was a guy I really wanted to get my hands on. But Michael Pittman against the Jaguars this week, 13 catches for 134 yards, putting up 26.4 points, Jim. Man,
big day, yeah.
Big day.
The Colts had an overall pretty big day passing the football against Jacksonville. But
going on, Deion Jackson, see my man.
Yeah, we'll get there. But going on to, of course, my guy Mark Andrews, tight end, 23 points, 6 points, 7 for 11, 106 yards, and 1 touchdown.
But took the L to the G-man. Sorry, but no, but just another day in the office for Mark Andrews. It's like clockwork, man. Him and Kelsey, just they're gonna produce every week, honestly.
Over to the Bateman and Robin side, got to highlight my man Breece Hall, 20.1 points, 116 yards and a touchdown on the ground, adds 2 catches for 5 yards.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Jets, they're a very talented team, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, it took them a little bit to get going offensively, and like you mentioned, Wilson didn't really get many passing yards, but dude, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. I mean, I still think Elijah Moore is solid, but maybe not. But the Jets got weapons, and Breece Hall is definitely that guy. Yeah, if you're Jason, you got to be over the moon just to see that production week in and week out.
Got to be most disappointed, though, with Kareem Hunt and Garrett Wilson combining for a whopping 3 points.
Yeah, as I'm going over the talent on the Jets. Yeah, bad week for Garrett Wilson, but I like him a lot. And I'm just putting it out there. Dynasty-wise, Olave over Wilson. Thank you very much.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next matchup here. Chrome Future beats Fossil Fuel 148.26 to 114.96, and just another day at the office for Chrome Future.
It's crazy, man. It's just like every week, Andrew is going to put up big numbers, and I mean, yeah, he didn't lead the league in scoring this week, but insert Brian Robinson. I mean, coming in, and you called it. You called it last week, Jim. And no more Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson's taking that job quick, fast, and in a hurry. Sure enough, he does. 17 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Solid game. Nothing spectacular, but you love to see the involvement. Just, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I mean, come on now. Like,
unbelievable.
It's just a very, I don't want to say unstoppable, because now, I think Alexi is going to give Andrew a run for his money with you. But again, just Stephon Diggs, 10 receptions, 148 yards, touchdown. Josh Allen, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns, added another 32 yards on the ground.
All right, we had a little technical difficulties there, but why don't you pick up here on your man Saquon?
With pleasure, Mr. Jim. So Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Also had another 3 receptions for 12 yards. And that touchdown was right at the very end, gave us the lead. Oh man, just what a game, man. I just love the win. But Saquon just continues to be the focal point of that offense. Also they use him in the Wildcat too, Jim. It's like they just try to facilitate touches for him as best as they can. And I knew this was going to happen. And, Andrew benefiting greatly, to say the least.
Yeah, who would have thought it took a genius to give the ball to Saquon?
Hey, Dayball is that guy. He knows.
Let's go over to fossil fuel side. Aaron Jones, only 7.4 points. I called him having a big game against the Jets run defense, but he just got shut down only for 19 yards rushing, 3 catches, 25 yards. Not a good day.
I mean, he had like one really good week this year, Jim. The Packers suck. We're so used to them having a really good offense. Man, Aaron Rodgers might be getting exposed without Devontae Adams. That whole offense is faltering, to say the least. Not a good look for Justin.
Yeah, Mike Evans, too, a bad day. Only 8.2 points, 4 catches, 42 yards. Tom Brady, man, out partying at Robert Kraft's wedding. Is that an issue?
It's crazy, man. It's just like, he's 45, Brady. It's like, I don't know. I still think better things are coming for the Bucks, but I also say, when Evans doesn't score, you feel that difference, man. Like, it's just 8 points from a guy that you expect wide receiver 1 numbers from every week, and it's just unacceptable. I know Justin is kicking himself, to say the least. It's like, why is this happening to me now?
Going over to our next game here, Run CMC beats Chicky Parmesan 143.7 to 118.82, led by a big game from Joe Burrow.
Yeah, man. Dude, and we've been talking about this, but the Bengals as a whole just haven't really been clicking offensively this year, but started to piece it together little by little. But finally, the big breakout game we've been waiting for from Joe Burrow, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, gets another touchdown on the ground, just dropping 32.5 points. I mean, oh my gosh. This is the thing, we know how good Jamar Chase is. And I can't, and now looking back, I feel silly that we picked DeVito, just knowing that he had the bye weeks and knowing the potential TJ has every week with the guys he does have. But yeah, man, great week for Burrow. Love to see that for him.
Yep, let's go to. I want to highlight my man Zeke here. Season high, 15.6 points, 81 yards on the ground, and a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yeah, surprising, to be honest. Yeah, he definitely was able to find some room. Pretty efficient that game, and the touchdown. Just solid game all around. I would not want to expect this to continue for you, Jim. Just throwing it out there, but good game. Good game for Zeke.
We'll see. Maybe you just needed to get the legs churning here.
We'll see.
But last on my team, I want to highlight CMC, 22.8 points. Another day at the office, as I like to say. 69 yards on the ground, 7 catches, 89 yards receiving.
And the craziest part, Jim, is the Panthers can't move the ball. But McCaffrey continues to just find a way to give his fantasy managers those much needed points. And, like we said in the news, if he gets moved to a high octane offense, I feel like the sky's the limit, man. So
absolutely.
We'll see.
If he's doing this week, he had PJ Walker and Jacob Eason get into the game at quarterback.
Yeah.
Give him somebody, give him Stafford, give him Josh Allen.
We'll see what happens then. Yeah, exactly. So it's scary. Just the thought of that. McCaffrey is one of those just game-breaking talents in this league. So crazy.
Going over to the Chicky Parmesan side, AJ Brown, 17.7 points to lead his team, 5 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, man. I had a feeling he was going to score this game. Him and Devontae Smith had good games. But But yeah, man, just AJ Brown's been having a great season with Jalen Hurts this year. Jalen Hurts has really took it up a notch this year. So yeah, solid game. It's really quick. I just want to highlight because we talked about, or at least I talked about it in the chat, but Carmine started Melvin Gordon and man's got benched because he's an awful running back. He should not have ever came back to Denver. And even though he didn't do anything crazy, it's just, I don't know why he's so insistent on benching DK Metcalf like every week. And again, DK didn't do anything crazy, would not have made a difference to beat you this week. But, Miles Sanders with a good week, gets in the end zone, but put Sanders at the RB2 and then throw in DK Metcalf as your flex. Like, bro, like, I don't know. I don't know what Carmine's thinking sometimes, but, in the end, wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, Melvin Gordon sucks. That's all I wanted to highlight.
Well, if you saw on the Big Rich breakdown last week, Carm did tell him he was looking to be a seller a little bit here. So maybe it's just driving the tank here for Carmine.
It's loser's mentality. Hate to see that. Hate to see that.
But anyway, I also wanted to highlight though on his team, Patriots defense has been really good, as you talked about. We hit on Nick Chubb, 16 points against Cleveland, pretty solid performance for a fantasy defense.
Yeah, man. I mean, 2 picks, 4 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. That'll do it. That'll do it for sure, man.
But let's get to our next game here. Very excited. Your boy picked the winner. Went with upset city here, rags to riches, beating the now saddest man, 124.58 to 83.44.
Yeah.
How about Big Rich this week?
Yeah, I gotta say, man, I'm never picking Bob's team again. Just he is awful, and it's crazy because he really thought he had a chance to be with the top teams this year. Clearly not. Fun fact: he tried to give me Jeff Wilson right before kickoff for a second. No, clearly I didn't need him. Kyle Juszczyk was better than him this week by a lot. But yeah, man, let's just highlight Rich's man, Ken Walker, man. I mean, talk about coming in with authority, with a workhorse back, 21 carries, 97 yards, touchdown. And as a guy who most people didn't really view him as to have much receiving upside at all, good to see a little involvement there. 2 receptions for an additional 13 yards. Yeah, Ken Walker is it's a good running back, man. He's solid. Good. It was good to see him perform that way for sure.
They also had a good day out of his man's Brandon Ayuk, 28.3 points, 8 catches, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Brandon Ayuk. It's just great game. Not taking that away from him, but it's like, again, with Richie's team, it's either game like weeks like this where whether it's Brandon Ayuk or if it's David Njoku dropping like 20, 25 points, whatever the case, or shit all around. It's like, it's hard to pinpoint what to expect from him, but it makes it fun. But yeah, man, great game for Ayuk for sure.
Also had a good game out of his man, Smitty Devonta Smith, 15.4 points, 5 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, man, just solid game. This is, I mean, I was saying how anything over 12, you should be a happy man. And yeah, I mean, 15.4, that's a solid game. I like it. Yeah.
All right, let's go over to the Satterman side. Let's see what happened with his team here. We got J.K. Dobbins, 1.5 points. I think he did leave the game, though, early with an injury to his leg. The same leg that he did have the ACL injury to.
Yeah, we'll definitely – I didn't want to say anything for the news just because we're not 100% sure on the status of that. I hope he ends up being okay.
Also highlighting my man's Adam Thielen. His called he was going to have a good game against that Miami defense. Puts up 15.6, solid week for him. 4 catches, 36 yards, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, man. He's a little up there in age, obviously, but he's still one of the better red zone threat receivers in the NFL. Hasn't been lighting the league on fire by any means this year, but still a very sturdy, reliable receiver for Minnesota for sure.
And last, as you said, Jeff Wilson, 0.5 points.
Yeah.
25 yards on the ground and a lost fumble. And that was pretty much his day.
Yeah, he sucks. I mean, he's been playing pretty well all year, but then this might have been one of those games where you fall out of favor. We'll see though moving forward. But yeah, not much involvement at all. And like I said, out of all the running backs, their fullback was the most fantasy productive. So tough look to say the least for Mr. Bob.
All right, let's go to our week 6 matchup of the week, which really turned out to be quite the dud. We've got Taylor Swift's McLaurin beating Gunnar Grogan 107.02 to 53.24.
Well, where do I begin? All right, you know what? I'm gonna start with a less obvious one. Tyler Lockett. Now, Tyler Lockett coming off a great game against the Saints. So we're like, oh yeah, he's been killing it. Just like with Russell Wilson, man. This guy would give you like a 35-point bomb week. Follow that up with 2 receptions for 12 yards. And that was the story of Tyler Lockett, no matter what. And clearly it continues this week, 2 receptions for 17 yards, Jim. I didn't even look. I was just saying around 17 yards. Yeah. So that's Tyler Lockett in a nutshell, man. So and just as we've kind of been saying, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right back down to earth and then some. Same with James Robinson. So, obviously the trade with Bob with Najee Harris had a very good start for him. We'll see long-term, and we'll see how Rob does the rest of the year, man. I'm looking at his schedule. I don't know.
Yeah, CEH and James Robinson combining for 9.8 points. Not great. Overall, just not a good week for Grogan. Really nothing to even talk about for his team, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Nothing to report now.
On your side, though, we got Deion Jackson replacing Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Puts up 28.1 points, 42 yards and a touchdown on the ground, 10 receptions for 79 yards. Also, if you watch Good Morning Football, won the angry runs this week.
Hey, I actually did not know that. Like to hear that. It seems like my main takeaway from this is just it seems like the Colts offensive line and offense as a whole is starting to wake up a little bit. And that's great to see. I like the next couple of games for the Colts. If Jonathan Taylor comes back and start, this is the numbers I expect from Jonathan Taylor. You know what I mean? So if he can, go back to his role, maybe Deion Jackson's carved himself out a role himself. For my purposes, I hope not. Keep him as a handcuff. But I went from being hella depressed because I was pretty confident Taylor would come back and be healthy and misses another game. And I was spiraling. I just picked up Deion Jackson, projected 2 points at the time, and then does this. It definitely made me smile. So
you've got probably 1 and 2 as far as waiver pickups for 1 week this year between him and Matt Collins.
Yeah, man. It's that, but that's been kind of my year. I mean, I've had lots of injuries, and thankfully in games. I mean, granted, I still would have won this week just because of how bad Grogan was, but still, weeks that ordinarily maybe most teams should have lost, I was able to pull out because of these last minute waiver pickups and doing their thing. So,
and in the last game in a Taylor Swift McLaurin F1 uniform, Tyreek Hill, 29.7 points out the door, 12 catches, 177 yards. Take it away, Kev.
He's a baller, man. And, after that week, I felt, I was like, and I was looking at it. I said going into the week, I felt pretty sure that this is probably his last game on my team. So I wanted him to do well. I wanted, so if there was any instance of they're overpaying, I can say, look he's a game breaking talent. Like he's very, very good. I do expect him to kind of not plummet, but kind of balances himself out a little bit. He's playing out of his mind. I mean, he's also Tyreek Hill, obviously. So he's still going to be very, very, very good. But I do expect Jalen Waddle to do a little bit more with Tua coming back. So I think it'll be balanced out a bit. But yeah, man, he's a hell of a player. Obviously, he's an elite wide receiver. It's tough to see him go. I got him on my team specifically to compete this year. And, we talked about it a little bit during our little break, but, maybe I could have still snuck in with him. But at the end of the day, I feel confident this league is going to be around a long time. And I think Chris Olave is a great player himself, and he's 22. So, and all the other assets I got just for Tyreek Hill in a third. So I do feel like overall I did get better value, but it is tough to lose a player like Tyreek Hill for sure.
Absolutely. So with that will wrap up week number 6. So let's go take a look at our picks this week. We've got Kev and Rich both going 4-2 this week.
Yeah.
And this week's winner though, 5-1.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Dude, I mean, and the fact that Richie picks against himself, you pick him. I mean, wow. And beat Bob pretty handedly. So yeah. Good for you, Jim. Still, you have to go 6-0 though. I hate
still yet, but let's look at the season totals. We've got
boy.
me at 28-8, Kev 25-11, and of course, Rich only his second week being recorded here. We've got him at 9-3.
Well, Jim, I may not be able to beat you in the picks, but it's good to see my New York Giants picking up these wins. So it's all right. If I had to pick one or the other, so. That's all I can say about that.
All right, with another week in the books, let's reset the standings for you here. Run CMC's in first, still at 6-0. Next, we go to second place, Chrome Future 5-1, along with Alexi. I'm all in at 5-1 in third place. Fourth, Chubby Stafford at 4-2. Tied in fifth is 4-2 Taylor Swift McLaurin. Sixth place, Gunnar Grovian falls to 3-3. Seventh place, Fossil Fuel 2-4. Eighth, Bateman and Robin 2-4. Rags to Riches in ninth at 2-4. 10th, Chicky Parmesan 1-5. 11th, Evil Empire moves up at 1-5. And our new basement dweller, the saddest man, Bob 1-5.
Yeah, it's absolutely embarrassing for Bob. Just a fucking shame. And I mean, now at this rate, obviously all he wants is to continue to lose for his draft position. And I hope he wins games he shouldn't. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for him the rest of the way. But yeah, he really thought that, after a really tough year last year, he was going to turn it around and compete this year. And that's been my saving grace for me this year. My sanity hasn't been fun for me, but to see Bob be even worse, oh man, you'll love to see that. So sorry, Bob. No, I'm not. Die.
So with that, let's get to our week 7 predictions, and why not start right there with the saddest man, 1-5, facing off against Chrome Future, who is 5-1.
I love it. Oh man, it's gonna be fun to just watch Andrew just steamroll Bob and just take a shit all over him. Yeah. So where do I begin? I mean, yeah. So we have some bye weeks for Andrew.
Big bye weeks for Andrew this week. We've got all the Bills: Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs,
right?
Justin Jefferson's on bye for him this week too. So
yeah,
some big names out.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter. So Andrew in a blowout.
Yeah, I'm tempted to I want Bob to upset him, but it's not going to happen. There's still too many good guys on the team. I mean, he's going up against Derrick Henry off a bye week, Saquon Barkley. It's just too many good pieces, man. Too many good pieces.
Yep.
So with that, let's move on to our next game. We'll go with 3-3 Gunnar Grogan against 2-4 Bateman and Robin.
So you know something, Jim? I know the projections are off just because Rob's lineup is not set properly. So he would have Jared Goff back in there against the Cowboys. So that could be an interesting matchup. He would probably throw in, obviously, Dameon Pierce back into the lineup. And then I guess either a combination of either Devontae Parker, or I don't know. I mean, maybe Robbie Anderson's first game with the Cardinals, maybe.
Might be interesting.
Yeah. Josh Palmer, without Keenan Allen there, has looked like he's been kind of taking on a role. He had a solid game and an ugly game against Denver. CeeDee Lamb against the Lions. Yeah, I'm taking Jason, man. I think the sweet you know, what's the word? The sweet, beautiful story that was Grogan's season, or what it looked like it was becoming, has come to an end. I think just James Robinson and Clyde are just back to earth, and digging themselves deeper and deeper into that hole. Brees Hall, as we've seen, is that guy. Yeah, taking Jason.
All right, I'm actually gonna go with Gunnar Grogan to continue the Cinderella story here.
That's the Cinderella story. That's what it was. We'll see. We'll see.
I just think getting Pierce back in there, and I know Robinson and CH haven't been great, but they've also been below, I think, where they should be. I think they get back to about what their average should be. Get a couple production for the quarterback and a little bit of the wide receivers for Gunnar Grogan, and I think it's going to be just enough to edge him over Bateman and Robin this week. So with that, let's go to Taylor Swift's McLaurin F1 versus I'm All In. Taylor Swift McLaurin comes in at 4-2. I'm All In 5-1. The replay of the third place matchup last year.
And now with the newly acquired Chris Olave and Tyreek Hill on opposite teams here.
Wow, yeah.
And this is, again, what's tough, because I thought maybe I could have held off maybe a week, but I did want to break the trade on the pod. No regrets. It is what it is. It was still going to be a big upset had I won, but all I'll say is, with Dalvin Cook on bye, that made it a little more interesting. But Jonathan Taylor, hopefully he comes back. DeAndre Swift, maybe we get a return out of him. I'm not going to take myself as I just got worse for this season, obviously losing a guy like Tyreek Hill and giving it to my opponent. I'm going to take Alexi, but I do think for the first time in a while this season, I'm going to put up a hard-fought battle.
I'm also going with I'm All In. Just there's too many good pieces now. Like finally seeing it in his roster all together, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Freaking the wide receiving core now of Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, and Chris Godwin, and of course Mark Andrews at tight end.
Right.
So too many good pieces on that team right now. Obviously, Tyreek going from one side to the other really puts a change to this. And quite frankly, I don't think it's going to be close.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, I think, will make it closer than it. I mean, well, then again, he's very explosive, obviously, with that team. But I think my team will do better than it has been. I think it's not saying much, but I hope to compete a little bit.
All right, next let's get to a battle of 2-4 teams here. Fossil Fuel going up against Rags to Riches.
Yeah, man. So once again, just completely boomer bust on Rich's side. Justin cannot lose this game. That's the thing, man. He just cannot lose it. I'm gonna take Justin. I expect a bounce back from Mike Evans against the lowly Carolina Panthers. And hopefully the Packers can get rolling against Washington with Aaron Jones there. So I'm gonna take Justin over Rich.
As much as my heart really, really, really wants to take Rags to Riches this week, I just don't see myself doing it. The receiving core just blows what the consistency of Justin's wide receiving core blows Rags to Riches out of the water right now. I mean, Mike Evans, as we expect Jalen Waddle to get a little bit better. Amari Cooper's been having a good year. It's just there's too many inconsistencies on the Rags to Riches side to feel confident picking wins 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
So I'm going to go with Fossil Fuel. Next, let's go to a battle of 2-1-5 teams here at the bottom of the standings. Chicken Parmesan versus the Evil Empire. Two teams at the beginning of the year we kind of thought would be, at least middle of the pack.
Right. And obviously just the way the season has gone, that is certainly not the case. So this one to me, Jim, is a lot more clear cut just because, Philly's on bye. And that's devastating for Carmine with no AJ Brown, no Miles Sanders, who's been playing pretty well this year. And, the only real key player that TJ loses is Gabe Davis with the Bills on bye. And, just looking at the running back position, Ramondre Stevenson and Raheem Mostert, who's definitely been taking on more of a role there in Miami, up against ETN, who definitely has been taking on more of a role himself, and Melvin Gordon, who just got benched this week. So, I don't know how Carmine will adequately replace. I mean, he's got Brandon Cooks and DK Metcalf, which is definitely solid for sure. The backup tight end position is a bit questionable. I don't know about Logan Thomas's status for this week or next week. I know he just missed a game. I think Jamar Chase has woken up for the season, and against the Falcons, I think the Bengals are going to keep things rolling. And I think Ramondre Stevenson has himself a day Monday night. I'm taking TJ.
I like it. I do think Melvin Gordon will be subbed out. Obviously, Josh Jacobs coming off the bye. He'll go against Houston. Like you said, Cooks and Metcalf to get into the lineup, probably to replace the bye weeks and the injuries going on. But that being said, there's just too much going on for TJ here. Like you said, Stevenson versus Chicago's a really good matchup. And then who else we got here? We got Drake London against Cincinnati's kind of interesting. And we also get the return of D-Hop this week.
Just about to say, I totally forgot that as you're talking. The return of D-Hop, I'm more than confident TJ is going to put Hopkins into his starting lineup this week. And I mean, what a time to do it. They lose Hollywood, insert DeAndre Hopkins. So, I think he'll return from his suspension with a bang.
We will see. So, I'm going to go with the Evil Empire side of that one. So let's get to our week 7 matchup of the week, which is a rematch of last year's championship game, also dubbed the Jimmy Bowl. Run CMC 6-0 against 4-2 chubby Stafford.
Yeah, man. So I guess the main things here is you don't have Cooper Kupp, obviously huge, which means Jimmy doesn't have Stafford, so he'd put in Trevor Lawrence against the Giants. The Jaguars have been just offensively just been very inconsistent. I mean, he had a solid fantasy day against the Colts, but as a whole, man, I mean, Christian Kirk has been kind of muffled as of late, and just overall, it's been very hard to predict them the last couple of weeks offensively. So I do like Austin Eckler this week against Seattle, but there's no way I'm picking against you, Jim. I really think you might go undefeated.
No way.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe one loss. Like that was my original prediction, and it's looking like it might happen. I don't know, but it's looking like my original prediction was giving you one loss, but the way things are going for you, Jim, it's hard to ever pick against you, and I'm not going to start this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have to face Alexi. I still have to face Chrome Future again. So I'm definitely not giving myself an undefeated. Even this week against Chubby Stafford, you still got to put Devontae Adams back in the lineup coming off bye. Will we finally see Keenan Allen? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think he's actually going to give me a pretty good run for my money this week. But I'm gonna stick with me to move to 7-0. Give me Burrow versus Atlanta. Amon-Ra St. Brown back. T. Higgins, who I was definitely scared to play last week, so I didn't. Had decent day, 10 points. So
yeah, solid. Lots of targets.
Another week healthier, so I feel good about that.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling with Run CMC to keep it undefeated. Something to watch out looking ahead to the schedule here. Going back to last year, I'm All In currently has the record of 9 wins in a row. So if I get to 9-0, who do I face in week 10? I'm All In.
Oh man. Okay. I mean, wow. I completely forgot about that. That was a big part of what plunged Alexi into the first seed last year. So yeah, man, I definitely think you're more than on pace to break that. But to actually do it, to beat I'm All In, that's really exciting. That's really cool, man.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna happen too.
Couple teams I got to get past to get there first, but that's something to definitely watch out for.
And really quick note, just before we wrap up here, I we both believe that Alexi will beat me this week, and you beat DeVito. Last I checked, so me and DeVito are still neck and neck for the record. I mean, yeah, I get worse for sure, but I'm just saying I can still be respectable. You know what I mean? Richie is capping like, oh well, Kev's pick is so valuable now. Oh, all right, we'll see about that. I still think that I'm gonna be solid, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. Chris Olave is your rookie of the year. So
it was my pick. It was between him and Dotson, and I went with Olave.
Yeah, so obviously lost the game due to concussion. He'll be back. We'll see him Thursday night. So if he puts on a show, I'm just gonna be smiling. So yeah, I'm definitely having a close eye on you and DeVito's matchup this week, the Jimmy Bowl rematch. And who knows, man? Maybe I still end up making the playoffs after all. Who knows?
Yeah, man, it's been quite a juicy episode. We got a little bit of everything for you. We got news, trades, recap, everything. But if you need a real in-depth preview, you make sure you go over and check out the Big Rich Breakdown coming out shortly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So with that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.